6. Yeah, you got it. Just hold it nice and steady. You can even hold it. You don't even have to look at it. Just hold it down. We'll get the footage. Now,
I'm short, and it's going to just record right through here.
That's okay. Eliza, by the way, this is where I start withholding information, so I'm not going to give you questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. Right. So, Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it that way because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14 when young girls got married. Think of today's standards because her husband was over double her age, so it's kind of a creepy age gap then, it's a creepy age gap now. So, with that said, she marries him because her father's over in England. He thinks he's dying. He is wanting to bring all of his kids home so he could see them one last time. Well, Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put right here and got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card because we're not a country yet. This is a true love story. I told you, not everything is scary. So, with that said, Dad did not die right away, so Eliza was right. And Dad starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing right now. One of the gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You've been in town for at least a day. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. So that's what we use it for now. When she got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here. So when she learned how to keep it going, she learned how to make the dye. She moved it to a cash crop down by the Stoner River. Got a hold of Dad and told him, rice plantation prices are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial days. So something absolutely unheard of. You got to see me during Women's History Month. We're going to talk about a lot of strong women tonight. I know, right? So here's, normally I pass out questions.
About pot. When you said it together.
God love you.
Okay, got it. Go on.
You married him on purpose.
I
Just
know,
to point that out.
I know.
Me and my wife say to each other all the time, like, you chose me on purpose. I'm like, no, you hunted me down. Anyway, here's what we're going to focus on. So I am going to give you some focus questions. You can either ask them out loud, you can stay focused on them, that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Normally when I have all these communication devices in front of me, I assign questions here to get people started. With yours and you guys being pretty apt to what we're doing out here, you're going straight after her death. She's pretty open about talking about it. The 4 major things that we get answers to: how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So, age, how, where, president.
Age, how, where, president. Age, how, where, president.
I'm going to be standing right next to you if you forget.
Okay,
Fine.
okay.
So,
I'm just excited.
anything above that 16 at this point?
No, sir.
Nothing.
Are you
All right.
sure?
I am positive it's 4.5 right now.
Okay.
It's not 65.2.
I got the number 6. Does that mean anything to you guys?
Well, it just was 28.4. 57.
There we go. And went down to craziness. So if it was something man-made, keep this in mind when you're using your device. It's going to trickle down, trickle up, trickle down, trickle up. And it's going to stay 57 to 52 to 55 to 49, and it's going to work around that way. She just went from a 57 to a 0.5. Like, that's nearly nothing. So it's definitely not anything man-made.
That makes perfect sense. Because anything man-made is not going to spike. It's
Going to trickle. It's going to fade away.
What was this woman's name again?
Eliza.
Beautiful name, by the way.
Full name Elizabeth, but went by Eliza.
Liza.
So we're going to basically take like 1 or 2 laps around here. I like to keep this one short just out of respect. I'll explain that before we leave the space. And then I'll go over all of the answers that I normally hand out for all the questions, just so you know what I'm looking for in the data. But you're definitely going to basically have Tourette syndrome. So you're going to pop those headphones on and you're just going to tell me whatever you're hearing. You can keep one on, you can put both on. It's up to you. It's your night. I do this every day. So.
Oh, please let him do it just over and over
Oh, I'm not
again.
doing it. He's going to do it. But
Oh,
he
just
can either.
over and over again. Let him get it out of the system.
Say I'm right. I can help you. Go ahead.
Tell that man over there.
Cash.com. Background on the occult.
Ooh, wow. That was serious.
understand.
It was.
Eliza, we want to go something simple. Let's just go after who the president was that was at your funeral.
Home value.
Who is the president? Can you tell us?
That's the objective.
Okay.
Eliza, we're going to just stay focused on those 4 questions tonight. We're not going to go any deeper. Once we get a few answers out of you, we'll be out of our way. You know how to use these boxes, so feel free to...
Oh, that would be the 3, probably.
What do you got? Yeah, anything with leaves on it is not your friend.
Yeah.
All leaves are in front of another leaf, so we get a lot of
You get the
gobbledygook.
dots.
Yep.
Got it.
Mostly repairs.
Oh, look at that.
It's a stick.
It's
yeah.
a stick. Thanks, Eliza. Appreciate you.
that.
We figured it out.
We certainly did with your help. We appreciate it.
Can't make this stuff up there, I promise you.
It's not. Can't walk right either. The stupid sticks, right? Those stupid sticks.
Man of the year. What does that mean? We don't want that. In your eyes.
You guys are going to hear a
Laughing.
conversation. I'm using whatever he's saying to basically advance the conversation.
You go for it. I'm a listener.
Good, you'll have lots to listen to.
At the end of the month. Order really loud. Get help.
It's quiet tonight. Very.
What do you want to do about this cold?
That was funny.
Did you hear what fire station he said?
I didn't.
Start raining.
Well, we're hoping it doesn't start raining. It's the whole point of being out here. As soon as you walked up to that pole, though, he said, "What do you want to do about that pole?"
You're listening to.
He's probably said about 75 things already so far, and I've only caught on with one. That's
Oh.
relevant to
And a bracelet.
That's weird. You don't hear that on the radio.
Whatever.
Okay. Eliza, you know we come with respect.
Yes, we do.
Any other numbers?
Every single game.
Any other numbers I need to worry about?
Everything.
No numbers.
It's staying at like 1.2, 1.1.
Told you, natural EMF is 1.1. We're way back this way. He's got a lot, and he's getting the gist of it, which is good. Yeah. There's not a lot going on. I move us on pretty quickly. There's no point wasting.
Yeah.
Especially with this space, because I don't.
It now hurts.
Mm.
Eliza, we're gonna wrap this up.
Ministry. a.m. In the glory. He's
reading about.
Huh.
In here with all the leaves and stuff. When I'm watching this part of the video, I just watch directly down the brick. So just kind of keep that in mind. If other tours are going to come through here, they're going to come out of the ivy wall because there's a little stairwell right there where they can cut through. Or they're going to come in the way we came in. So we'll just split the sieves and let them pass through. I stay out of the other tour's way when I'm in their way. So again, you guys get it. I'm the weirdo in town. Is that record button hit, by the way?
Yep.
Good, because you're going to need the audio for it. Welcome to Dueler's Alley. We call it Philadelphia Alley now. That's the actual street name for it. But it used to be called Dueler's Alley because this is where some of the duels used to occur. So again, we're here to kind of stir shit up a little bit. I'll tell you the history. Then we're gonna bolt out of here and go up and around the corner. And hopefully you're gonna get the bleed over from this location over there because he's not gonna be able to listen here so he can hear the history. So kind of keep that in mind when you guys are going through your data. Anyway, every ghost tour tells the same story down here. I'm going to tell you the same story, but with different details because we're ghost hunting, not campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. So let's get into it. A doctor moves down to Charleston from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. I basically say that because if you say it that way, because we do get the song Brown Eyed Girl here all the time, but with that lyric, because it's part of his name. So kind of keep that in mind.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Ladd moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. He tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. He comes to Charleston to prove that he's not. So, on his way into town, somebody set him up to be robbed and killed, his coachman. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver. Yeah.
Bad Uber driver.
Exactly.
Bad.
Now, with that, somebody was walking by and seen what was about to happen because he knew the coachman was going to try to kill the newcomer. So the person walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. I stopped there because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from.
Rhode Island.
Ralph Isaacs. We were getting RI, like somebody was spelling something out like Victorious, where it has RI next to each other, all the time on spirit boxes. So I bought that new Envoy device. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it?
Yep.
I figured you have. I actually call it a digital Ouija board because that's exactly how it works. It works off of EMF. Anytime there's a spike, it's going to drop the letter. So that's how it works. Now you can use it to tap and to use temperature, but outside you only want to use the EMF function.
Is it the one that goes yes, no?
Yeah, it also has yes, no. It'll have numbers and then the emojis. So I only use the numbers and the letters. The 1700 Colonial Ghost don't know what the fucking emoji is. I think it was the stupidest thing they could have put in there. And you already know.
They're like, oh my God, he's singing sad.
Yeah, and he said yes. Like, I don't give a shit. I want him to spell out yes, if that's the case.
Yep.
So you're getting my point. And I only use 3-letter words or more. So I'm not going to take like no, it, that kind of mentality. Unless, of course, it's initials. And I bought it to see if we would get those initials. And I've had it for about 8 or 9 months. And we've had it about 6 times so far, as soon as I bring up Ralph's name. So, and R and I are not next to each other in the alphabet. So keep that for what it's worth. It just puts a scroller all the way through the alphabet. It doesn't always have a productive piece, so that's usually when I have groups of like 8, 9, or 10, is when I bring that out. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them, and you'll be safe. Doc took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. She gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can be wed. And Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every single haunted city that you're going to visit in the future is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. It's another reason why I'm taking this out of my route, even though we do get a shit ton of evidence from this location. It's a big cliche. We're going to talk about those whistles in just a moment. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. On their way home from seeing Richard III from Shakespeare one night, they're arguing over the new actress that was in town. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly, and they went their separate ways. I told you Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the newspaper and tells them to place an ad telling the whole city what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of like a, you're a disgrace to society kind of bullshit. Doctor saw this ad.
Like a Twitter.
Exactly. And
post.
Most tours will tell you that that was the first part of social media. You know, putting ads in the newspaper. So, good point. I don't normally say that because that's what they say.
Yeah.
But you actually made the point exactly. Doc saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this shit. Somebody's going to die.
It's a
Keep in mind,
perfect alley for it. I
I
mean,
know, right? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the how this place was built when we're done, because it actually makes more sense. But anyway, so they came down, they took their 10 paces away from each other, and they turned. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to his fight and basically forgive him. But Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. He didn't kill him, but he proved his point. He's still pissed off, not willing to forgive. So, Doc fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786 after refusing medical treatment. I'm going to point out two things. First off, he's a doctor. Second, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then than what we know now.
Well, yeah.
He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but he failed because he died. However, every tour that comes down here will tell you to listen for the whistles. Luckily for us, we have two electronic devices that are recording audio. If we're going to capture a whistle, it'll be on one of those devices. I won't say that we have not gotten a whistling part of a song with the word doctor from a commercial immediately after during our radio sweeps. Dozens and dozens of times. So it's like a doctor, like we get it all the time. So we do get the number 59, Amanda. All kinds of clues. The doctor's birthday. I'm not telling you what that is yet, because you will hear the numbers from that. That's almost a guarantee. That's 6 out of 7 nights a week. We will get that exact number. So again, the doc is here all the time.
Okay.
Why here?
This is his emotion. I won't say that he did. How do I put this? Our last space, where 59 Church Street is about 0.3 miles away, we've seen him slip through. Because that's where he lived. Funny thing is, he's not even buried in the state. He is in
So
Virginia.
you're not with
He's
your body.
emotionally attached to
That
this
just
area.
proves that it doesn't matter where your body is. That your
Right.
body's just a shell.
Right. Just a meat suit, man. This is where the raised emotion was, where he had that altercation with his friend. So, every ghost tour will tell you to listen for those whistles, and if you're going to try this on your own, because I can't take you all the way through the alley because I've been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Yes, that's what I do. But turn on the voice recorders from your phones and listen to it later. Just keep in mind, every local knows this story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street, the wind came in on, or Queen Street, throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single day. So well, not every day anymore because I have a new parking space, but my office is over here. My parking garage was over here, so I would have to pass the alley every day after being done with your guys' data to get to my car, and I always threw a whistle down here between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning. So
funny.
just to kind of see what happens. Before, I used to do it when there was other tours down here, just to kind of piss them off a little bit. Exactly. So here's actually how I got kicked out of here. This is the fun part of the story, don't worry. This alley didn't go all the way through the way we came in. There was a wall up there. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It's called Cow Alley. Before, it was called Dueler's Alley. So imagine a bunch of cows and chickens down here. Why is this important? Because the bricks on the other side of the alley are older than the ones we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, along with fingerprint swipes from others. I used to take my groups all the way through there just for a history piece. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to show that, find that kid. I showed it off because we need to see how far we've come from slavery.
You.
What do you got?
I keep hearing the tss, tss. I was like, is there an
Oh, yeah.
animal over there?
No, it's his
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm used to that sound.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm thinking it's a squirrel.
November 26th of 2020, my entire group is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen, and it's right outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't realize I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. The new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was hysterical because her father's getting yelled at while he's at work.
Of course.
And yeah, we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I already told you I worked in retail management for a long period of time. Most of those years were for Walmart. I don't do Thanksgiving anymore, thanks to y'all, like the fight over towels. Yeah, I was the guy who had to set up the store and be in charge of all of the fights, kind of thing, because I was that guy. But anyway, so the next day was the 28th of November, and I had a full tour again because it's Black Friday. And I called my partner that morning, kind of told him what happened with the neighbor down there. He laughed at me too, just like my daughter. And he said, "You're only allowed to go down halfway, dude." He's like, "It's residential beyond that. That's the boundaries. You got to reroute your group." So I told my group that night, I don't believe in the next story because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. And again, believe it or not, I told you I was all about Black Flag, and I hated pirates. Like, it was just not a thing for me. Let me explain why. I will in just a second. But anyway, before we left, I told them, I don't believe in this one. So we're going to see what happens. The person with the spirit box, at least one of them, heard the name Anne on the spirit box. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was like, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. So we get up and around the corner. I told them what little bit I did know about piracy, and somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what that one meant. I wrote it down, looked it up the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020, and Bonnie's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
I was actually pissed off. I have a master's degree in creative writing. When I'm doing this especially, I like facts and data. I need facts and data. The problem with pirate stories is they come from pirate lore that were written 100 years after the alleged occurrences, because I've read them. Now, I will tell you that most of my library now, my it's books library, is shit on pirates, on debunking and figuring things out of what actually occurred. I watch a million documentaries, a million movies,
I love
video
pirates.
games, that kind of thing, and now I'm all over it and I'm about it because I know the story so well. I actually could almost name every single character in that damn Black Flag game before they even introduce themselves, because I've read that much about them. So, what we're about to discuss at the next location, each line I give you is coming from a minimum of 2 resources. So kind of keep that in mind, just to make sure like what we're doing is legit. It is a 50-50 roll of the dice if she'll even be there, simply because Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. And I'll explain why once we get there. I love how you're putting the connections together and why I take you to certain spaces, but keep in mind you might get bleed over from the doctor as well. You're gonna tell me all the weird shit just like you did before. The gate before we leave, I like to just point out this is my little nugget of history. So this gate, remember I told you that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? If there was a loser to the duel over here, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. They would go drop the dead body off so they can go celebrate the winner with a pint. So I call this the Death Gate. The wrought iron was probably put here in the early 1900s, but the archway you can see is definitely part of the original wall. So call it the Death Gate. Not a whole lot of tours. I don't think anybody. I told my daughter I still can't even find where I found the information about this. Like I've dug and dug and dug and still can't find where I found that. Yeah. No, I didn't just know it. I read it. I know I read it somewhere. So I know. But that should show you how much research I do on these locations. And the weird one is the new one we're going to tonight. I don't know much, and it's a hope and a prayer that we're going to make contact at that location. So let's go learn about some rated R pirates. Get those headphones.
He wasn't. He was reading it to his kids.
By man, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into why we're here. These guys are going to get me all kinds of trouble. We're here to talk about the little building up there, the crosses on it. Those are not crosses, they're earthquake bolts. I'm surprised your carriage tour didn't bring you by this location earlier. This is the Gunpowder magazine. We're here because of those crosses, basically. The earthquake bolts, if you don't know what those are, because they didn't explain them, it sounds like they didn't. They're basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, you can tighten the earthquake bolts, and it tightens up the building so it doesn't incur further damage. She's like, I want to go see this shit. We can go up and see it. Come on.
Rosé.
Rosé?
Come hell or high water.
Rosé is actually relevant. And that's not relevant to here, it's relevant for the told you, it's
High of 76. Hopes and dreams.
If it's just one person, I cancel.
This bridge to the music track.
If it's a female, I'm definitely not going.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I get it all the time.
Default.
County balance.
And why don't you tell us the name of the city where you grew up if you're here?
Debbie.
You get Deborah here all the time. I don't know who the hell that is. Feminist.
Language.
I'm actually very excited about that. We get a lot of female gender terms here because she
Yeah.
wants to make sure we know she's a female. So we'll get a lot of she said, I'm with her.
That's my
material
man.
Girl,
That's
my
my
man.
man.
Not that that's a female gender term these days, but
For me, I'm a Leo. I'm very I get it.
I have to be PC all the time.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about PC here.
Well, I do
You're
in
in
the
a safe.
evidence.
You're in a safe space.
I figured as much, but for the evidence.
Me talk.
Aluminum.
Chevy.
Dr. Ladd, if you're bouncing over here, we'd like to know more about rosé. Can you tell us the rest about rosé, please? It's a name.
In the palace, something.
Alice. That's interesting. Don't hear that on the radio.
Today is powerful.
What is today's date? 14th? 16th?
Showroom, which lighting is?
And Bonnie.
What do you got to tell us?
I'd be really excited if you told us the name. By the way, look at that tree over there. That is a great picture. Perfectly lit.
Makes sense. Savannah talked to everybody. My dad. No matter what. Guilty pleasures. Why you should hold on. Nasty something. %12 coupon. Every day. Hello, everyone. Understand. Roofing industry has changed a lot. Provoking. I could just yeah. Talk about you. Community, doing good. Thank you. You're making me feel. Shut up.
It was loud.
That's the way you heard it. I normally notice when they're under like this, they say things the way they heard it. Is that the word you have on there? Is edit?
Edit, yeah.
Oh, look, Venus is Venus.
Shit.
Every day. Standing by. This is a new one, something.
We almost need to speed that up.
Yeah, you do.
Got two little things out of it. I don't know what the palace thing is, but that is definitely something that they would have called maybe their headquarters in Havana or wherever they were at. So that kind of stood out to me. I'll see if there's something else that ties to it. You did say the word rosé like immediately when you first started. Yeah, rosé was like the first thing you said. So remember I told you about the 59 Church Street that Dr. Ladd lived in? That is known as the Thomas Rose House. So you did say rosé. I was asking if he was over here, can he give us the first name as well? So you'll hear that on the audio. Hopefully you have the answer. It didn't show up here, obviously, because you didn't get any names. No numbers whatsoever. recording the entire time here, right, as you're walking around?
Yeah, that's still recording.
Cool.
Yep.
And you can keep it on. So I become obsessed with this book. I'm walking around the city, I'm following the clues, this, that, and the other, I'm doing my research. So between my wife...
You're not good for him. What? You're just not.
So between my wife, who's into photography and art, I got her on the damn painting.
I've got somebody.
No, you don't. You got a tree.
No, I don't. It's in between the tree.
It's a tree.
You have the tree in the background.
Son of a bitch.
I love you.
Grr.
Brought me in is a historian, like into tourism. So I got him looking into certain things that I don't know about. And me, the wordsmith, I'm analyzing the poems like nobody's business. So, after months and months and months of reading,
Hang on. Oh, this is a freaking graveyard.
it's okay. There is said to be a Civil War ghost that walks through here. So, as I'm going through all of this, I have a solution. I think I know where it's at. I get a hold of the people that own the land. I put on a suit, and I bring my laptop with a projector, and I do a presentation. And it wasn't the first time that that's been done to this group. Not for that piece of land. But for another.
You were determined.
I was. So, I get a phone call about 2 weeks later, and they voted to allow me to propose the ground.
Nice.
Basically, put a stick in the ground. So I bought a camera with the little wire, and my wife is literally army crawling on the ground every time we poke a hole, so she can see what we hit. Then finally, keep in mind, it took like a year to put that together to get everything aligned because I needed one of the owners of the foundation that owns the land. I needed a park ranger, and I also needed a police officer.
Jesus Christ.
So, my wife is army crawling on the ground. Me and one of the foundation guys have shovels in our hand, waiting to have this thing. The agreement that I made with them is that if I find the past, because that's all there is, and there's keys, I turn the key in, it's the living wife of the author, because he's dead, and then he is with the jewel that's associated with that puzzle, and it's all based off his own. And it's also based off of the harder the gemstone, the harder the key. So,
Cincinnati Bengals.
normally
Black Friday sale.
I sit down, but this bench is pretty wet. I don't want you guys sitting down and getting your asses soaked.
I'll use my jacket.
So, what I would have you guys do is at least hang on to